I don't know if anybody's here. Nobody's left any comments yet, and I'm not getting a count quite yet. But I don't, nope, nobody's here. Oh dear, nobody's here. Well, I'm going to give people a chance to show up because not everybody can do. Ooh, it says somebody's here, but maybe they don't want to comment, which is fine. Ana's here. Hi, Ana. We have that situation where it's just like, oh, it says only one person is here, but Ana's here, Paige is here, Abby Jean is here. Hi, Abby Jean. Hi, Paige. Hi, Ana. Lies are being told. No, now it says I have two people. How's everybody's afternoon going, or late morning, as the case may be? I am having one of those days where I'm asking myself, before I undertake any kind of endeavor today, I am like, what is the absolute bare minimum I can do? Yeah. Or to put it another way, I'm wearing pants, but I'm not happy about it. Tara's here. Yay. Oh, now it says 5 people are here. Hi, Tara. I did the tag you did the other day, the scavenger hunt one. It'll be going up on Sunday. Ana, trust not the YouTube view count, for it is false. Or the StreamYard, because StreamYard's relaying YouTube. So, you know, it could be that everything's on like a 60-second delay. I don't even know. But anyway, Tara, I did the tag video, and like I said, it should be up on Sunday. Scavenger hunt, you guys, for those of you who don't know, you should check it out on Tara's channel, Tara Talks Books. She did a scavenger hunt with like 20 prompts, and I was like, ooh, yes, I love it when people do scavenger hunts, and I will do it myself. And that'll be Sunday morning. I'll put that up. Same sucks as Abby Jean. I am just now making my to-do list for the day. Well, I did a lot of stuff today, but again, not terribly happy about it. I think we're all entitled to have those days where we're just phoning it in, where we're just like, yeah, what's the bare minimum? Oh, okay, I'll do that. I'm doing good, but struggling to get through work. Could use some motivation. Oh, I think I was kind of demotivational there. Hey, look, if I can put on pants, you can balance accounts. I guess. I don't know. That's not really, that's kind of mean. Let's see, where you are, it's like just shortly after 11 o'clock in the morning. If you look at the clock, you will see that in, let's say, no more than 6 hours time, or 6.5 hours time, you will be home with Dan, and you will be having getting ready for some lovely dinner, maybe having a cocktail or a glass of wine, maybe not, maybe having a mocktail. You don't want to drink alcohol, but you want to do something special and fun. There's this mocktail I always wanted to try, but I haven't yet. It is Cathay Pacific. It is their kind of the airline. If you go into like first class or business class or whatever, you give you a free champagne or a free cocktail. Well, they also have a free mocktail for people who don't want to drink alcohol or who are underage. And apparently it involves like kiwis and mint and maybe even a little bit of cucumber. I don't know. It sounds really refreshing and delicious. Tara says, oh, yay, I can't wait to watch it. I hope you will enjoy it. I had fun with it. Anyway, so yeah, you could just tell yourself that, you know, you're going to do the stuff for the next few hours. And then if you're not working from home already, then in a few hours, you'll be home and not having to worry about work anymore. And if you are working from home, you can take, you'll still be home in a few hours time, but you won't have to do work anymore. Plus, you probably haven't even had lunch yet. So you could make an occasion of lunch if you're at home. You could just like take the full hour to like boil some spaghetti, toss it with some pesto or something, make a nice salad. Or if you're at the office, you could maybe go out to a cafe and get something. These are all strategies. Ana says, I used to order the non-alcoholic fuzzy navels and screwdrivers at Denny's when I went there, Sunday after church with my grandparents. See, if I had to go to church with my grandparents, I would be ordering one of each of the hard stuff. Yes. And most of my grandparents were dead by the time I turned 21. Mhm. And I just realized what a mess that sentence was. I got the gist of it. I understood. Okay, so let's see. One of the things I'm hoping to accomplish today, which does fall under the category of not necessarily the bare minimum. Oh, wait, Tara has something to say. Oh, Tara says, I am making a chicken bacon ranch quesadilla for lunch. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We had leftover gyro platters for lunch, a little bit of lamb, a little bit of chicken, some rice, some grilled. I had grilled onions and tomato. My mom uh, took care of the bell peppers for me because no, that's just not happening. And we had some pita and some hummus and some tzatziki. It was all very delicious, but chicken bacon ranch quesadilla sounds pretty darn awesome. Anna says, I was 10 or I probably would have. Yeah, church without bribery is nothing. Okay, I'm sorry to the religious people who might be watching, but I'm just not a churchly religious type of person. Uh, I love all those strategies, socks, says Paige. I will probably make my feta and spinach omelet for brunch for our Greek week. Yes, for Greek week. I'm wearing my mermaid tiara. Thank you, Abby Jane. It was a gift from her because Greece is, of course, the nation of seafarers and fishermen and so on and so forth. And I'm wearing a blue and white blouse. And earlier this week, I read Harlequin Presents #6, The Honey is Bitter. It was published in North America by Harlequin in 1973, but it was a reprint of a book that originally appeared in 1967. And I burned this Santorini at Sunset candle. And this is the lid. I think I might have talked about this in Book Talk with Sock on Monday night, but not everybody goes to that. I know. It's not convenient for everyone. That sounds divine, Tara, says Abby Jean. Yes, Tara, if in a few hours' time you have a whole bunch of people that you only know from YouTube, like you don't really recognize us in 3 dimensions because you're used to seeing us flat on the screen showing up, you'll just be like, glad I got extra chicken, glad I got extra cheese, glad I got extra bacon and tortillas. Come on in. And we're like, we brought pop, we brought some soda, we brought some lemonade. Tara says, it's my new favorite to make for lunch, Abby Jean. It sounds really good. It really does. Now, of course, lunch around here is our big meal of the day. So that's why we had the gyros that I picked up at Gyro Love. Gyro Love is a limited local chain in like central Connecticut. And I stopped at the one in Cromwell yesterday. And I brought home the lamb gyro and the chicken gyro. And mom was like, the lamb gyro is really salty. And then this morning, today when we had leftovers, I was like, did you want any of the leftover lamb? And she's like, yes. And I said, but you said it was really salty. And she said, I wasn't complaining. Mm-hmm. Tara is laughing at the thought of all these people showing up at her house. Like, we'll bring desserts, we'll bring sides. I'm here for the cute stuffed animals, says B. Nice. And I'm reading in a Harlequin Presents called Bride Behind the $1 Billion Veil, part of a Crazy Rich Greek Wedding series. I'm not going to do my full haul for the stuff I picked up at library sales on Saturday, but there is one thing that I got. It is not Harlequin Presents. It is Harlequin Desire, which I believe is a now defunct line, but I pretty much had to buy it, even if I never read it, because it is Secret Baby Scandal. Secret Baby Scandal. And it is one of the Bayou Billionaires series, but Secret Baby. Somebody's probably a virgin. I love gyros, says Tara. And B says, I'm having so much fun with Greece. Well, you know who else had fun with Greece? When I was but a lass I had just barely turned 8. My sister was 15. My mom was of an age, and we were living in Iran. Now, we came from the US, we went to Iran, and we were going to stay there for a few years. But then political events overtook us. This was in like late 1978. So my mom, my sister, and I left. My dad had to stay behind. He was working for an American company that was contracted to the Iranian government. And for political reasons, they were insisting that everything was fine. everything was fine and everybody should stay. And they were like, if you go back to the US from Iran, then when the whole thing blows over and you want to come back to Iran, you're going to have to pay for your own plane tickets. And won't you feel silly then? So my mom, my sister, and I mean, it was very unsafe for us to be in Iran, for any of us Americans and quite a bit of other foreign nationals to be in Iran. So the three of us went to Greece because the idea was if it actually did all blow over, then we could go back to Iran fairly cheaply. But my dad had to stay in Iran. So we got to Greece and we're running around doing a bunch of sightseeing and everything, but it was stressful. The circumstances under which we left Iran were stressful, being separated from my dad. I think that was the longest time my parents had been separated since they were married. And, you know, I certainly hadn't been around from my dad for that long, but we were stressed out. And I, of course, had many stuffed animals with me. And the dear sweet lady, I think she was probably 50 to 60, who was the housekeeper at the hotel and who cleaned our room for us, saw me with all these stuffed animals. And one day she left a doll or two dolls, I guess, she had made on my pillow. And it was fantastic. It was so neat. It was such a kind and loving gesture. And I still have them. And it's what it is I don't know whether they're two dolls or one because it's two dolls and they are literally joined. They're joined at the waist. And you've got this one, her name is Delphi. And we have this one, her name is Olympia. And they have this skirt. So when Delphi is out, she's the one with the sad face, but she's not sad. She's just stitched that way. Then Olympia is covered up. And then Olympia is Delphi is covered up. However, they both are just like pretty much hang out all the time with the skirt bunched up between the two of them. Delphi and Olympia. And then as the month progressed of December, it became increasingly obvious that we were just going to have to go back to the States and that my dad would join us as soon as his company released him from his contract, because the American government and the American companies were kept insisting that everything was going to be fine. The Shah was going to hold on to power and so on and so forth. Not exactly prescient on that. And that if anybody left their contract earlier than the company released them, they would be sued for breach of contract. You'll never work in this town again. And it was a whole thing. Well, my dad did come away for a few days. He joined us in Athens. And because it was like probably around the 18th or 19th of December, we had like a makeshift Christmas. There were all kinds of Christmas decorations around the city. We were in Athens. And my dad joined us and we had like a little makeshift Christmas. And my sister went to a Greek department store and bought me this turtle. And this turtle is actually a puppet. And I named her Turtle Wordle. And then a few days later, when my sister, my mother, and my dad took us to the Athens airport, and then we were flying back to the States. And there were a lot of flight delays. And my sister sat down with Turtle Wordle, and she began having the turtle make proclamations like the Delphic Oracle. And she was speaking very slowly and soothingly and calmly and making ridiculous predictions. I predict that in the morning the sun will rise in the east, but we may not be able to see it because of cloud cover. So my sister's like paying attention to me and manipulating the puppet and saying the things. And then suddenly she looks up and I look up and we look around, and it turns out there are like 4 or 5 other kids gathered around, just fascinated by this teenager, because my sister was, 15, I think I said, yeah. She might have even been 16 at that point. Yeah, she was 15. Anyway, by this teenager manipulating this puppet and having her say things. And because she was speaking so slowly and soothingly, people were into it. And it was calming as we were all fretful because of these delays. And also the kids who didn't necessarily speak English or didn't necessarily speak really fluent English could still kind of get the idea and could still be entertained by what was happening with Turtle Wordle. So those are tales of Greece and stuffed animals. Okay, now I need to catch up on comments. Kristen says, hey, Kristen, hi. OMG, says B, that is such an incredible story. And I know, I think you've made that comment like when I had barely gotten to like, I had barely gotten into it. Paige says, I love the Harlequin Desir, the Harlequin, maybe in Spain, and the Harlequin Desire line. It's so sad they took it away. I'm trying to read a Harlequin book for each destination in June. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. This was my Greece book. What I was going through is my vintage Harlequins. I was just starting at the beginning and going forward as much as I could. So the first one, this is the oldest one I have, number 6, and it is set in Greece. And then I already have picked out one for Italy, one for France, and I actually have 2 for Spain. What a lovely gesture, says Tara. I think you might have been talking about the chambermaid / housekeeper who left me the dolls. Yes, yes. And I still have them. And they always got to go on trips with me because the rule was when we went on trips, I could only take 2 stuffies. And since these were 2, but they were also 1, they only counted as 1 stuffy. So they always got to go because 2 but 1. Hi, Stormy. Hi, everyone, says Stormy. Hi, Stormy. What a story, says Abby Jean. What an incredible story, Sock, says Tara. Oh, yeah, we came back to the States, my mother, my sister, and I, and we had Christmas with my dad's parents. And my dad eventually was able to join us in February of that year. Ana says, I have a new favorite turtle now. It used to be Franklin. Franklin now has to defend his title. Aha, but hanging out under the tree, we also have Adora. Now, she came from the Ventura Community College bookstore because I was doing some of my general ed requirements there. She was an end of semester present to myself. She's not as flamboyant as Turtle Wordle. She doesn't have as many colorful tales of entertaining children in an international airport, but she's pretty cool. Okay, so yeah. And because I don't know how long B is going to be able to stick around, I'm going to show a couple of other things. One is, I love turtles, says Stormy. Turtles are awesome. In Book Talk with Sock on Monday evening, Kristen's little brother, showed up and he showed off his Minecraft turtle. It's like a physical object, not a virtual Minecraft turtle. It was like anyway, it was cute. He was cute. Well, I do have books to show that I got last weekend, but I'll do that after we do 10 minutes of yuck. But in case B can't stick around, because I want to make sure she would have a chance to see this, I wanted to show something I bought yesterday. I was in a Marshall's or a Home Goods, and they had this on the clearance. It was a box set of candles, because I need more candles. I just do. And it was quite a reasonable price, and it was a set of 4. And I don't know if you can see these, but we have Ibiza, like Spain, Tuscany and Capri, like Italy, and Mykonos, like Greece. I think it's better if I show them this way because less glare. B says, we caught a giant moth that Buddy found this morning, and he's already played possum twice today. It's a real emotional roller coaster. Moths are sneaky. And then once you take care of it, you can all sit down and watch Mothra. OMG, the candles, says B. Awesome candle finds, says Kristen. I was happy. Blah, 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 says B. And Tara says, oh, what a great find. Yes, I'm very happy. There was one other stuffy, and this stuffy came up during the Book Talk with Sock. And there was somebody who, I can't remember who it was, but they said they wouldn't be able to be here for this live stream because they had to work, but they might watch it back later, and they wanted to hear this. And I was talking about this bunny that my grandma crocheted for me. My mom's mom crocheted for me, and it was for baby's first Easters. So this bunny is 54 years old. The pom-pom is a recent acquisition, but my grandmother also made the carrot. Her name is Della Guerra. She's named for a street that my friend lived on when I was little. She is 54, and I am 54 and a half. Can you smell the candles through the plastic? B asks. They sort of. They actually have. There's a little. Let's see. You can't really see it, but there's like a tiny little hole where you can smell them. Mostly, what I smell on all four of them is pineapple, but I can always. Well, they're taped in place. And I don't have scissors handy because I am stashed in a corner of my bedroom. This is, do you have a favorite yet? I haven't even opened them yet, so. Unless you're asking about my stuffed animals, and of course I don't have a favorite. What am I, a monster? Of course, they're all kind of stuck in the packaging. Oh my gosh. Oh, sorry about the noise. Wow, this is more of a job than I thought it would be. This has a kind of, well, it's just a fruity smell. I'm trying to see. I think it's supposed to smell like grapes and flowers, maybe. That was Capri. Like Capri Sun, you know, those little juice pouches. And this is Tuscany. This has a kind of a berry, more of a berry smell. They all kind of smell just kind of like sweet fruit. I think they've been hanging out together too long. Usually, okay. Oh no, that was, the first one was Ibiza. This one. This is fascinating YouTubing. This has more of a lemony scent. Capri. Boy. Okay, last one. Okay, this one has more of like a sea salt and sage kind of salty berry kind of smell. They're all really nice. Excuse me. Oh, come on. I'm loving this, says B. Well, thank you. Okay, we should probably do our 10 minutes of yuck, and then I can come back and show off some of the books I picked up last weekend. One of the things I was hoping to accomplish today, I don't know if I actually will, but I want to put this together. It is a raised planter, which essentially is going to be a book trough. I'm going to spend my 10 minutes of yuck taking it out of the box and making sure I have all the hardware and seeing how complicated it is to do. Because if it's too complicated, then I'm probably not going to do it. Because again, this is my day of what's the minimum amount of effort I can put into any particular thing. Okay, so 10 minutes of yuck. Let's get this party started. We're going to 105.9, The Whale. Variety from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Okay. Yeah, they're playing Evanescence, so if you like that, here we go. Okay, so here is the radio station that I may or may not be listening to, but if you want to rock with sock, and we can stream until 2:34 my time, so 34 minutes past the hour. And that'll be the 10 minutes of yuck, and then we will reconvene. Okay, see you guys in 10. Okay, I'm back a couple of minutes late. Sorry about that. I set a timer and it didn't make a noise. It timed out and it didn't make a noise, and I was trying to figure out the instructions. I think it's going to take a 40-minute sprint to get that taken care of. And a couple of tra-la-las. Anyway, sorry about the extra couple of minutes of sprint there. Like I said, I had set the timer and I was expecting it to make a noise, and it didn't. Okay. So, did everybody enjoy their 10 minutes of yuck, or at least now you can feel smug that it's over with? Mm. Did we all have our own little secret baby scandal? Abby Jean says, I am cleaning the kitchen currently. Yay, that'll be done with, and then you can be smug for the rest of the day. Actually, I clean the kitchen and then I'm smug for like 6 months because I did my part. Yes, I finished my lunch, says Tara. Yeah, but your lunch did not sound like it was 10 minutes of yuck. It sounded like 10 minutes of absolute delight. Well, probably longer than, oops. I have made that my Wednesday chore now, says Abby Jean. Used to be Friday. Well, that's nice because then you have like all of Thursday and Friday to recover from having done the kitchen, and then you can like move into the weekend ready to have some fun. Paige, I took a 10-minute break and went outside for some fresh air. Nice. And Ana says, I was resting my head. Lack of sleep is being unkind. I know the feeling. I know it all too well. Do people want some bookish sprints now? Stacy, hi, Sock. Sorry to hear about your recent migraine. Nothing worse than waking up with one and knowing your whole day is going to suck. It took me a long time to get like better. I went out. I did some errands on, I think it was Thursday, and then again on Saturday, and I probably pushed it a little too hard. Although yesterday was really nice. I had an appointment up in Farmington, Connecticut. So I went and walked around the West Hartford Reservoir, which has a lot of really nice trails and pathways and so on. So I got off the path, off the asphalt, and onto the actual dirt trail in the woods overlooking the reservoir, one of the reservoirs. And I think I did about 3 kilometers in 35 minutes or something like that. It was like a mile for, I was doing a mile in 18 minutes. So it was pretty brisk pace considering that I haven't been out on the trail very much at all in the last 3 or 4 years. And Stacy says, I'm at work, working. Well, there were stuffies if you want to go back and watch the earlier bits later. But I was thinking now we might see what I picked up when I was running all over the state to various library sales over the weekend. Oh. Ugh. Heavy in some ways. Yay, hiking, says Abby Jean. Yay, indeed. Yeah, it was nice. And then I went to my appointment, and then I kind of drove around and did some stuff. I went and got all the baked goods. I got tiny little cranberry orange scones. I got some whole wheat croissants with like seeds and whole grains in them. And I got some little tea cakes, strawberry and lemon, 2 separate, not strawberry and lemon together, but strawberry tea cakes and lemon tea cakes. And those are very nice. They're not too sweet. Very, very nice. Trails, fresh air, and a walk are always good, says Stacy. Yeah, I'm just like really out of shape, really out of practice. So, and we're about to have some, well, starting today, we already do have some very poor air quality. So I wanted to be able to get it in while I was up there, because I don't get up there very often these days. And also while the air quality was still reasonable. And it was quite lovely yesterday morning. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't too humid. The air quality was still good. Now it's not. It's very gross and hazy. Ugh. Sounds yummy, says Tara Talks Books. It is. It's really good. Okay, now first off, I picked up some Stephen King. As I have mentioned, I am trying to build up my Stephen King hardcover collection. And I got this copy of The Shining. Nice hardback in excellent condition. And I got Cujo. Warning for scary dog. And then I also was able to get both Desperation by Stephen King and The Regulars by Richard Bachman. I talked a little bit about Stephen King writing as Richard Bachman last week. And he, after it was known that Richard Bachman and Stephen King were the same writer, he did come out in the early or mid 90s. Where did I put them? In the early or mid 90s, let's see, the copyright date on this is 1996. I think they both came out just about the same time. Yeah, 1996. So he wrote, these are kind of sort of companion works, and he wrote this one more in the style of Richard Bachman and this one more in the style of Stephen King, but they're both the same dude. So those are the Stephen King ones I picked up. And now on to the romance, the kissing books. I had Secret Baby Scandal, which I've already mentioned, and also from the Harlequin Desire Line, His Seduction Game Plan. I wonder if he's actually like an athlete of some description. Ooh, it's the series is called Sons of Privilege. How naive we were back in 2016. He is a pro football player, so yeah. So, and Good Girl's Guide to Breaks by Eva Lee, which is the first book in Last Chance Scoundrels. And this is Kay Hooper, who is now probably best known for writing sort of paranormal, the Bishop unit. It's supposed to be like this sort of quasi paranormal, sort of psychic unit of the FBI. It's headed up by a guy called Bishop. I mean, it's a surname. I don't remember if his first name is Noah Bishop, I think. Anyway, so she's wrote romantic suspense, and when she started that series off, there were various pairs getting together, but I think now it's like pretty much solidified, and it's not so much about romance anymore. It's just about solving crimes, FBI type crimes. But she started off writing category romances. In fact, I first read her stuff around the same time that it was being published in the early 80s by Candlelight Ecstasy Romance, which was the category romance finger of Dell, the publishing company Dell. Well, here we have 3 of those books in one volume. So that's 3 books in one. And let's see. Oh, okay. And then we have Megan Frampton. I haven't read anything by Megan Frampton, but I've heard good things. And I saw one, and so I picked it up. And this is a really, really cool cover. She's got very blonde, ash blonde, almost white hair, and a lovely purple dress, and his shirt kind of coordinates. Anyway, let me see. It is called Gentleman Seeks Bride, and it is a Hazards of Dukes novel. And there's, I think, the 4th book in the series, I think. And it is, I don't know when it's set, if it's Regency, but it looks to be sometime in the late 18th or 19th centuries. Let's see. Anna Harrington, A Remarkable Rogue. Oh, this cover. Oh my gosh, I really love this cover. It is by Olivia Drake from the Unlikely Duchesses series, and it's called When a Duke Loves a Governess. But ooh, look at this cover. I just really, really love it. Another purple situation. It's gorgeous. Let's see. Getting a little warm. Abby Jean has, there we go. I read the first book in the Hazards of Duke's series need to continue with it. Nice. Uh, Lynn Curland. Oh boy. Oh boy. Lynn Curland. That cover, says Stacy. Isn't that gorgeous? This Is All I Ask by Lynn Curland. I was reading some of her time travel romances. I have them over here on my project cart, and that is because I need to take their pictures and talk about them in a video. This was the first book of the MacLeod de Piaget novels by her time travel, and I read this for Ever After-a-thon. Anna had this on her shelf. She had not yet read it. She's read part of it now. She had to bail because she just found the hero to be the hero, the main character to just be so incredibly unlikable. And I think that was probably a good decision she made there. It was well written, but still. I have Good Girl's Guide to Rakes too, says Tara. Yes, it was. I have a lot of Eva Lee, but that one I didn't have. So this one is this also time travel? Woohoo! I am back in this corner where it's not very bright. This is medieval. It does not seem to be time travel though, but it has a spiffy dragon. Somebody up the street from my house has a wooden dragon by their driveway that looks kind of similar to that. Very nice. Let's see. Christine Fian, Bound Together. I haven't done another one yet because just the opportunity hasn't presented itself. But my first, and so far only, but it will not be the last, Dive In or Drop Out. Dive in or drop out, where I read the first book in a series to decide whether or not I want to pursue that series further. One of those, that video was the Christine Fian edition, and this is part of one of those series because I ended up deciding, spoiler alert, that I was going to dive into all of them when I get a chance in my copious reading time. I do have a lot of reading time, but I also have a lot of books that I want to read. And this is Joanna Shoup, The Lady Gets Lucky. It seems like purple and lilac and lavender were kind of the colors of the day when I was out on Saturday for the covers I found. Nice. This is part of Fifth Avenue Rebels. Here we have, are these time travel? These are 4 novellas in one volume that are all set in the medieval period called Tapestry. Contributors are Lynn Curland, Madeline Hunter, who of happy memory, she recently left this earth, Karen Marie Moaning, and Sherilyn Kenyon. Ooh, The Lady Gets Lucky is one of my faves. Lessons in Seduction. Ooh, looking forward to that. And let's see. It's getting very warm back here. One of these days, we're going to have to knuckle under and turn on the air conditioner. My mom and I are very stubborn about that kind of thing. Let's see. Okay, and then I have by Helen Mittermeier, The Veil, which is, I believe, medieval. It's about a Scottish young lady who is cloistered at a Mediterranean convent, but I don't know where in the Mediterranean. This is from 1996. Stacy says, I still have some time travels on my TBR after the Ever After-a-thon, but right now I'm enjoying mood reading whatever the heck I want to, too much. That Joanna Shoup one is good. Nice to hear. I actually put my, back there, those are my time travels that I pulled off of my general shelves and put in, took out, and then these are the ones I didn't get to. The ones I did get to are mostly on the project cart because I need to take their pictures for Instagram and or talk about them in a video. Because those 90s ones I'm going to do I'm going to do an Are These Safe to Read video where I talk about, like, how does this stack up? How do these novels stack up to more modern sensibilities? Because a lot's changed in the last 25, 30 years. I have to go to an appointment. I'll talk to you all later. Bye, Tara. Thanks for stopping in. I'll be sure to tag you, or I'll leave a comment in your video when I post the one on Sunday, my own. Okay, and I assume this is a fairy tale retelling, Victoria Alexander, The Princess and the Pea. And yes, that is a sort of very pale purple. Let's see. Yet another. Oh, this is Silhouette Desire, because it was Silhouette Desire before it was Harlequin Desire. Although I think by the time Silhouette started the Desire line, I think they had already been acquired by Harlequin at that point, so they were all sort of part of the same general mishmash. This one is by Maura Seeger, and it's called Princess McGee. Yes, she's wearing a purple top. Kind of clashes with the red border, but what are you going to do? Abby Jean says, I am so curious about retellings of The Princess and the Pea. I guess the moral of that story is marry the woman who doesn't complain, no matter how badly you treat her. Doesn't translate well. Let's see. And I have. Okay, we're almost through. I have a couple of Love Swept. These are reissues because they used to have the covers would have. I should have gotten one out for comparison's sake. Maybe I'll grab it during the next sprint. They used to have these covers that had the clinches and everything, and then they did these reissues with what you might call discrete covers, where it was just like a floral border and then the title and the author's name. This is Joker's Wild by Sandra Chastain. They had a bunch of these at the Gales Ferry Library in Ledyard. I picked up a couple of them. And Rescuing Diana by Linda Cagio. I don't know how she pronounces that name. Anyway, these are ones that I don't remember what the summaries were, but something about them appealed to me. So anyway, this is some kind of corporate espionage deal. And then this one is, I think it's a gambling thing. I think it's Joker's Wild because they actually are professional poker players. I don't know. And finally, last but not least, continuing our purple and purple adjacent journey, it's the One Step Back that I picked up. Promise Me Tomorrow by Candace Camp, which still has a Goodwill sticker on it from, I don't know which Goodwill. You can see there's a little swans in a garden there. And this is, and the lettering is purple. I don't know if you can tell in this light, but that's what it is. And that is the Step Back. Very nice. So that's what I picked up on Saturday. Let me know if you want to know more about any of these titles, and I will share them. I just kept piling the books on top of one another, and they slid, and one of them hit me on the toe. You know how sometimes it just like catches your toe in a weird way? It's better now. Okay, so any questions, comments, concerns before we go for a, let's say, 40-minute sprint? Does that sound good? Or 35-minute, because it's 5 minutes to the hour. We could go until 30 minutes past the hour. Yeah, let's do that. Before I set the timer and everything, does anybody have anything they want to say? Kristen says, sounds good. And then when we come back, maybe people can talk about what they've been up to reading lately. Okay, so let's go until 30 minutes past the hour. And there is the link for the radio station and sprinting until 00:30. And I will. Okay, see you in about 35 minutes. Okay, it's time to come back. Oh yeah, it's time to come back. And Lisa has joined us. Hi, Lisa. She says, hey, everyone. Just arrived. I was cleaning the grill so we can use it tonight. Ooh, what are you grilling? Oh my gosh. Oh, tired. Exciting yawning with sock marionette. Oh, whiskey pork chops. Okay, we're gonna go have the chicken bacon ranch quesadillas at Tara's, and then we're gonna go over to Lisa's for whiskey pork chops. Very. It sounds really, really good. A little out of breath because I was crawling around on the floor, and that's hard for me to do because I got a little touch of bursitis or something on my knee. And I can walk, I can run, I can jump, I can hike. But when it comes to actually kneeling and external pressure on that knee, kind of hurts a lot. So there was a lot of extra motion that I had to do to avoid putting pressure on that knee. I'm also very bright right now. I had to open curtains for so I had enough light to put together that thing. Oh my gosh, I'm yawning like a person whose narcolepsy isn't quite there yet, but close. I don't actually have narcolepsy, but oh my goodness. Stop yawning. You're making me yarn. I think she's yawn. Yawn, yeah. I know, it's catching. That wasn't a yawn. I was muttering cuss words under my breath. Anyway, yeah, I'm tired. Today was all about just showing up, not being brilliant, but just showing up. And I did. Although it did energize me to tell tales of the stuffed animals. Oh, how's everybody else doing? Did anybody do any actual reading during the sprints, or was it all working and cleaning and stuff like that? Huh. We've got a budget rental truck, like they're like U-Hauls, but they're budget branded instead of U-Haul, and it is circling the block. He doesn't know where he's going or where he's been. All he knows is driving. Anyway, so let's see. In terms of reading, I didn't do any reading. I was putting together that thing, which went okay. It's kind of flimsy, but it doesn't need to be any stronger. And it was decomplicated by the fact that I'm not actually putting top heavy stuff in it, so I don't need to like anchor it to a wall or anything like that. So that made it easier. I am almost done with today's chapters of Sword Art. Nice. That is the book that Abby Jean and I are buddy reading, and I read mine this morning. I think before I did anything else, I read Sword Art, and also I read my chapters from Hidden Pictures, my other buddy read. And I am currently playing Tetris. LOL, says Abby Jean. And Thornwick is reading Heartbreaking. What is Heartbreaking? I would be interested to find out a little more context on that. The other book I started last night, but I haven't read too much of, was I finished Redeemed by Lauren Asher, and I can't remember what it's Collided, the second book in the Dirty Air series. I'm not reading all of the books because some of them are just like, the summary doesn't sound that intriguing to me, but I did enjoy Redeemed. I don't know how I'll feel about Collided yet. I've only read like 10 or 20 pages. And I was reading a lot of fan fiction. Stacy Hoffman says, I did finish Deep End, Ali Hazelwood this morning. I liked it more than I thought I would based on negative reviews. I did that as a buddy read a couple of months ago. Paige is still working, unfortunately, so no reading for her right now. Aha! But now you are an hour and a half closer to being done than you were when we started this live stream. So anyway, so yeah, heartbreaking. Curious about that. So yeah, I was mostly reading fan fiction. Oh, sorry, man. Very true, says Paige. I don't know if I'm reading a lot into those two words and that one punctuation mark, but I'm thinking you're thinking, it seems like you're saying, well, that's true, but that still doesn't help me right now. I still have quite some time to go. Anyway, yeah, I did a lot of running around yesterday and I'm super tired. So, let's see. Heartbreaking. No. Oh dear. I got curious about heartbreaking, so I Googled heartbreaking novel and it gave me like The Fault in Our Stars. It gave me a list of books that will break your heart. Heartbreaking. Come on. A novel by, oh my goodness, it's just heartbreaking. Heartbreaker by, I read it as heartbreaking for some reason. Heartbreaker by Sarah McLean. Thank you so much for the clarification, because I thought it was heartbreaking. And I was like, heartbreaking novel, and it was like giving me all these famous tearjerkers. It was not telling me, okay, now I understand. How is it? Oh, excuse me. Yeah. I think I've read something. I don't know. I'm really tired. Oh, yes. Anyway, so I think I may have to call a halt because I am like really, really tired and I'm just going to keep yawning. And it's just going to keep setting other people off. So maybe it is time. Oh, okay. Thornwick says just started, so not sure yet. Have you read anything else by Sarah McLean? I'm trying to think. I thought I had, but maybe I haven't yet. I know I have some books by her, but I have a lot of books I haven't read yet. That's how that goes. Anyway, so yeah, I was thinking I might call a halt a bit early today because I just can't stop yawning. And that's not helpful. Like I said, this is one of those days where it was just kind of like, I showed up and that felt like a lot. Because sometimes just showing up is rough. Go take a rest, says Stacy Hoffman. Yeah, talked me into it. Well, thank you all for coming today, cutting it short. And we will be back next week. There is no book talk with Sock on Monday evening. This is the off week. And next week, I think, bye everyone, says Abby Jean. Kristen agrees that rest is good. And next week is, I'm going to just pivot you just a little bit. Next week, it's going to be time for the spring tree to become something other than a spring tree. So that's what we'll be doing on next Wednesday, and hopefully I will be a little more alert. But thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. And if you're watching this back later, thank you for doing that. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And bye. Have a great rest of your day, says Stacy, and you as well. So yeah, so I hope see you around on Discord or whatever, and I will be back in a week. I'm going to be posting videos in the meantime as well, so I'm not just like going into my lair and not emerging for another 6 days, 7 days. Okay, bye everybody. Have a great weekend and rest of your week.